Good. Got stuff to make sure people can't tamper with those things. Thank goodness for that. Got an orange over a blinking green. So something's coming. I just don't know what. The yard's only 4 or 5 minutes away in Manchester. They're dragging equipment thing. They've got 2 signal boxes. One's probably a defect detector, one's for the signal. Dragging equipment detector there, along with this car scanner. Access road, which is what I'm on, which I'm now getting off of. I guess that means what? Clear restricted? The orange over a blinking green? I don't know. I genuinely don't know, to tell you the truth. Yeah. Apparently there were gates here at one time. There's what's left of them there. And there was another track here at one time. How do I know? Because there's the crossings say 2 tracks. Yet there's only one, the main line. Which means the old branch that led into Warm Springs somehow came down here, and that's level ground. So either that track was right here somewhere, or vice versa. I don't know. That route was abandoned by Norfolk Southern in 1988, which means, and it couldn't have been here because this is CSX, former Atlantic Coastline tracks. So that means either there was a bridge for the Southern Railway, or the Southern Railway had an interchange down here with CSX, and it curved down away from the depot, came down here. There was a switch somewhere down there that brought it onto CSX trackage. I don't know. I can't find any more info on it, but there's the sign proving what I'm saying. 2 tracks, but there's only one. So I will see y'all when the train gets here, if one gets here at all. Welcome to Roosevelt's residence, the little White House. This is all the stuff leading to it. These are the sentry posts here. This is for the Secret Service. This one here was for the Marines. That is a fountain that was later built on the property with all the different flags for the different branches of the military and armed forces. And I think there's flags for all the different countries here too, if I'm not mistaken. And here's a wishing well that is now sadly capped. That's original to the property. Right here, stone lined well. Got some squirrels there in the bushes. Anyways, interesting thing. This is an original drainage gutter here. That's copper, if I'm not mistaken. That's a copper, yeah, copper drainage gutter. So, yeah, this is my first time going here to Roosevelt's place of residence here in Warm Springs. I've heard about it for years. I was going to see it a few years earlier, but that just never worked out. But I'm glad that I was able to come back this time when I'm older and am able to actually appreciate it. Now, I'm going to be asking the park ranger. I already asked the park ranger about the room Roosevelt passed away in. I'm not going to film that out of respect, but I will film the rest of the house if permission is given. And it seems that it's okay to film it with a few exceptions. Now, I'm actually going to go up here where this center sign is to try and get pictures of this. Because right now the light hitting all this is just perfect. But President Roosevelt visited Warm Springs for the first time in 1924, about 2 to 3 years after he contracted polio. And he came here because of the mineral springs that were in town. And his last visit here was in 1945, and he ultimately died here due to a stroke and was returned to Washington by train, and then I think buried either there or in his home state of New York. But here is the servants' quarters here. I'll be. So Miss McDuffie, or Mr. McDuffie, excuse me, died in 1946. Miss Bonner died in 58, and Miss McDuffie died in 1966. So this here is the servants' quarters. That's the guest house. So I'm going to start with all the outbuildings first. Now, take note of all the wood. You will never see this sort of thing again. And bear in mind, it's low ceiling for a reason, because remember, in the 1940s, people were not as tall as they are now. That was a storage closet that fit the roof line. Got a small bathroom. Probably wouldn't have had a window in it if it were built today. That, I believe, is an old wash basin. You'd put a little cloth in there and wash up. Cast iron sink. Here's your little commons area here. Got a bench, little desk, little table, chair, mirror. Got a little wood stove with a stovepipe and some metal behind that as an insulation. I don't know what that copper thing was for. Unless that's knob and tube wiring, because I just now noticed the little wiring running between the joints there. So that could have been original wiring, now that I think about it. So here's the info on the servants' quarters. So this place has actually been a museum since the 40s. That's impressive. I didn't realize that. I thought it was made a museum much later, but evidently not. Evidently not. So there was a staff shower in the basement. So the basement became a museum in the 1940s. So that's when the shower facilities were removed. But here's the bedroom. So you've got a little bedside table with a lamp. Sorry, it's blurry, but yeah, there's your bed, your little rug. You got a wicker chair there. Another set of wicker chairs, a table, what looks like a book, a dresser, some hats, a photograph, more old wiring, some old curtains, old flower vase with flowers, another bed, an old king-size bed. So this was the girls' room. So you got a little dresser slash vanity with a mirror, got a picnic basket, little box there, I don't know what that was for, a book, little trash can, more wicker chairs. Now I can tell you, that little trash can's got lead paint on it. A lot of stuff from that time had lead paint on them. That wasn't really outlawed, I don't think, until the roughly 30, 40 years ago, I believe. But that's this part covered. Now I'm going to look at the guest house. Here we got a wooden chalk to keep the door open, and look at the doorknob. That's a well-made doorknob if it still turns that good. Here's another view, here's a view of what you'd see if you were coming out of the servants' quarters in the morning. But I can see why Roosevelt liked it out here. It's quiet, it's not crazy. Well, not now it is. Well, it's not now, of course, but still. Yeah, that's right, because that's before Alaska and a few other states were added. It's interesting. You wouldn't know that if you didn't look at it close enough. But there is Mr. Roosevelt's place of residence here in Warm Springs, the little White House. So named for its design that mirrored the famous home in D.C. But we'll get to that in a minute. Here is the guest house. So as you can see, it's got a square construction, which is interesting. Oh, I love that. It's probably that's a very old map of Georgia. I wonder if any of those are still around. But yeah, here's I guess a guest bedroom. Got a fireplace with a model ship. That looks to be about, keep putting my hand up so the glare is out of the way. That looks like it's original. Semi-original. So you've got a dresser there with a lamp. What looks to be a rotary telephone. You've got what looks to be a bed or fainting couch bed with a bathroom. Got various chairs, trash can, little shelf. What looks to be an old, I guess, form of a heater. Because remember, these homes did not have air conditioning, meaning the heat from that fireplace would have wafted up through that little vent there if there was a second floor, or it's just through the attic. And then here is a double bed with another room beyond that. It's hard to see, but there's another room through that doorway there. And of course, these are locked for obvious reasons. This was probably a storage closet and or maybe a small bathroom, if I had to guess, since you have a door here that can close this off. It said there was a photo book showing what was inside these rooms, but I didn't see one, and I'm not going to bug the park rangers about that. That was probably where an old fire extinguisher hung. Hold on one second. Sorry, y'all, I had to wipe something off with the camera lens. So, coming back out of the guest house, we now come to the main, I guess you could say, event. This is President Roosevelt's home here in Warm Springs. As I said many times, it's known as the Little White House. I guess it's been a museum since, I think, shortly after his death. Don't know exactly when, but still. This here is the front entrance. And there's a little plaque there on that rock. Yeah. And there you go, right there. Died in this house on April 12th, 1945. This was put up 2 years after his death in 1947. I think he's the only president in history that's nearly had 4 terms. You would never see a president do that today, period. Here's another view looking out through the front, or what I think is either the front or the back of the house. I get confused on which one's which. And I like that everything is centered. I love that. That was an architect who had a very good idea in terms of aesthetics. Now that, I believe, is another Marine Corps sentry post. Now take note, the poor guys who had to be out in that only had that as shelter. They'd have to be there in all types of weather, rain, sleet, snow, etc. And you can see there's actually terraces out here all along the hillside to prevent this thing from sliding down. So that is the basement, and I'll get to that in a minute. But right here is an ice box. Now also take note, drainage pipe down here going through, down, and down to the bottom of the hill. That's original pipe, I think, cast iron and porcelain. Yeah, these were vegetable and supply shelves. Here's where you'd have your refrigerator, freezer, and I think you'd put the ice in there, either in there or in there. So, let us enter. So we are now in the kitchen. So there was ice water there. And those are your early bug sprays right there. Don't breathe those in, you ain't going to be doing pretty well. There's your cutting board. Note the grooves where all the fluids and whatnot could drain down into the sink, where they could then be flushed down. Got a can opener. That's what that is. That's an old can opener. I don't know what the other stuff is though. That's where you store your peppers, spices, etc. Another prep table. That was probably a small breakfast table. I think that's an early toaster. Waffle maker. Tea kettle. That's your early electric stove right there. Look at that. That is vintage as all get out. Complete with what looks to be a timer. There was your oven. And here was, I guess, the pantry right here. This is where you'd store all your stuff in terms of kitchenware. All your crockery, dishes, etc. Basically, this is what my mom would want in terms of storing all her kitchen stuff. Something with that much space. Oh, look at that. That's original too. And bear in mind, Now you can see early on there would have been a proper wood stove in here because that's the stovepipe. So they must have converted it to electricity either shortly before or shortly after Roosevelt died. Old vents still in use.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Do I hear somebody over here?
China cabinets for all the china and dishes. Right there and there. So this is more or less a pantry here.
So no flashes.
Flash is not on, sir. It's good.
Good. Take all the pictures you want then.
All right. It's an old phone there. Oh, two old phones actually.
It's a bell ringer.
Ah, bell ringer. Fair enough.
Phone bell ringer.
Ah, thank you, sir.
You see the most important thing for him in there?
No,
Did you
sir.
see the ice cream maker?
No, I didn't actually.
Well, you might want a picture of that. I don't know. His favorite thing was ice cream.
Ah.
Right on the floor there, hand cranked.
Oh yeah, I see that now. Yeah.
This was a big time upscale Westinghouse zone oven for cooking on a stove and in an oven.
Yeah.
Electric.
Yeah, I noticed that. I could see where the original used to be, and I guess they replaced it later on.
That's the time he passed away here in the afternoon.
Oh, boy, look at. I didn't notice that.
3:35.
Oh, boy.
This was his favorite cook.
Yeah.
First meal, last meal. That's what she wrote up there that they reproduced.
Yeah.
He loved Southern fried cooking.
I don't blame him. I'm the same way.
Had 3 electric appliances. That's something for those days.
Yeah.
Waffles,
Yeah, waffles, toast,
tea.
an electric tea kettle. I never thought that was actually a thing.
It certainly was, and they were not made in China.
Well, of course, and I haven't seen one since, I don't think.
But you can see one today.
Yeah. And it looks nice, too. It's like, what happened to nice stuff like that? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, our government decided that they wanted to save the people in the United States money, so they all went to China.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
China, there's pretty much given to them from his mother Sarah. It's from Japan,
I'll be.
Switzerland, Denmark, Germany, and England. The orange and green stuff is primarily from Japan.
Oh, wow. It's all really, really pretty. This would have been the living room, right?
Now come on over here. We'll end up here. That's a foyer.
Oh, a foyer.
That's where
Thank
you
you.
exit from. This was, he called the living room, but this is really his office. This is where he worked from. That and the deck when the weather permitted.
Oh, yeah.
This is where Madum Somatov was doing his portrait. When he, in that chair, he had the stroke. 1:35 in the afternoon. 2 hours later, he never regained consciousness. He was in his bed and he passed away in his bedroom. Everything is as you see it as it was that time at that day.
I'll be.
Only 2 things have been removed, a couple of pictures and a couple of gifts by Eleanor. Everything else is exactly
As it was left.
Nothing's been reproduced, nothing's been, whoa.
Roosevelt at Hyde Park, he actually built several.
It's like wrong entrance.
Yeah.
I'm curious, that painting there, is that Civil War? Is that
I
depicting
think
Civil
so.
War?
They can't certify that for me, but I think it's Mobile Bay in the Civil War.
Yeah, it is, because they wouldn't have had steamships in the Revolutionary War, and that's a paddle steamer off to the right.
He had that designed for the citizens.
That'd be about right then.
He and his bodyguard built that ship, that Nantucket whale ship,
I'll
from
be.
scrap from the lumber of this house.
I'll be. Speaking of lumber,
That's longleaf pine right from the woods out here for us.
yeah, I was gonna say you
Trees
could.
with linseed oil.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can see where they were hand hewn, hand cut.
And the rock is also from the earth out there. Granite, because it's everywhere here. And some of the oldest, would you believe, rocks on this earth are right out here.
Oh, wow.
This was his idol, John Paul Jones, founder of the American Navy.
I can see why so many warships are named after him. And then you've got a combination radio and record player.
He built phonograph, dictaphone,
And then right here,
recorded radio broadcasts, reproduced records.
Wow. So it's basically an early home recording machine, pretty much. More or less.
USS Constitution painting there. You can see that in Boston Harbor today.
Yeah.
The family crest on the left there is the Delano family, his mother's family.
Oh, yeah.
Was carved out of a cedar tree. A fellow in Savannah, Georgia, that immigrated from Italy, and he carved that out of that cedar tree and gave it to Franklin as a gift.
Wow.
All the furniture in this house, there's only one direction, ma'am, this way.
Just that way out.
Yeah. Do you want the, I'm giving him the detailed information, if you want to listen or you want an overview.
I just listen.
Okay. Where was I?
Yeah, the ship.
Furniture, Eleanor and two lady friends during the Depression created Van Kill Industries. They manufactured furniture to give people jobs in Hyde Park, New York during the Depression. Don't touch, please. Anything. This is all authentic, original stuff. Can't be reproduced. They made all the furniture that you'll see in the house except this big desk, which was a gift from the CWA people in Massachusetts.
Wow.
The rug was done in Saluda, North Carolina. It represents some of the New Deal programs. There were 31 programs in the New Deal. They met at a horse show in Madison Square Garden in 1902, except when they were real small, he was 4 and she was 2 when she went to his mansion family's home in Hyde Park, New York. But they really met years later at the horse show.
How big?
He also designed floor-to-ceiling windows, which was unusual in those days, and he designed closets in rooms. They didn't do that, they did dressers.
And now all of that's become standard with.
Yes, he's well always ahead of his time. He did these windows not only to see the view, but because he was scared to death of fire. He couldn't walk, number one. Number two, he's got panic buttons everywhere, those brown little buttons, inside and out. So that if somebody didn't get to him in time, he could crash out through the glass to try to save himself.
Yeah.
I'll repeat some of this because you weren't here when we first started.
Yeah.
He was sitting in this chair when he had the stroke at 1:30 in the afternoon. Madame Solotov is standing where you are, drawing his portrait. He never regained consciousness. He was brought to his bedroom over here in his bed. He passed away 2 hours later. You'll walk right by that.
Speaking of which.
So
Yeah, speaking
you
of
go out here, you turn to your right
Speaking of which, it's 1:38 now.
to go to the secretary's bedroom, take a look, make a U-turn, come back this way to this bedroom, we'll keep going. We designed this deck.
This leads down to the basement. That's where the servant showers would have been. There's an old light switch, push button. An old switchboard, that's what that is, old telephone board. I love the bedspread, you don't see that anymore.
His panic buttons.
Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. And here's the view, or what the view would have looked like had there been a, if the trees weren't here. Another Marine Corps sentry post. I can't speak today, people. There's another one there. That is the room President Roosevelt died in. So I'm not going to show that. So for right now, this recording will end here.
I love all the little shelves, the book shelves in the living room.
Oh yeah. I just noticed what looks to be old wallpaper on the shelves here. Yeah, that's what it is. It's wallpaper.
He was 5'10".
Here's the original toilet paper. Cast iron sink. There's similar sinks in the hotel we're staying in. Little medicine cabinet shelf. I don't know what that was for. Maybe a wash rag.
Great, great job. has been saved to perfection.
Yeah, it's just marvelous what
It
they
truly
did accomplish here.
I just love the woodwork. You don't see this in any modern house anymore, period.
No,
Yeah,
I would prefer this house.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody would.
And that has to-
Well, the air conditioning wasn't added till the mid-60s.
Yes, but still down here with the trees, having
Oh,
grown
yeah.
up in Georgia.
But this is down in the valley. I live on the mountaintop
Okay.
here.
Oh, it's really.
It's about 1,700 feet. Here where we're standing is about 800 above sea
Yes,
level.
yeah,
Linen closet.
yes, isn't that neat? I wish my linen closet was that neat.
Oh, I saw the one where the dishes and all were put up, like
Yes,
the
butler's
kitchenware.
pantry, yeah.
Well, that and the other one in the kitchen. I joked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I joked. It's like that's what my mother wishes she had for all our cooking-ware at home.
Absolutely, so you can see it all.
Type of cloth. That's interesting.
Outstanding.
Where y'all from?
Athens, Georgia.
I lived in, I just came here from Madison.
Oh, okay. Pretty
Madison,
houses.
Georgia.
Oh, pretty houses.
Well,
I like it here a lot better.
Yeah, do you like it better?
My wife died we were there 17 years.
Oh, okay, so,
And I just moved here at Thanksgiving last year and started working here January 20th for something to do.
that was good,
Yep. Yeah, I like it a lot better here.
good, good. Changes.
Athens is great.
Oh, yeah, it's a
But
fun
it's
place
grown
to
so
live.
much.
Oh, yeah, it is. But
Too
it's a
bad.
fun
I still
place to live.
go to the Athens Heart Center.
Oh, good for you. All right.
I don't go there very often.
But well, good. We want you to not have to go a lot, but that's
Yeah.
where the good doctors are, so you're in
Yeah,
good shape.
he's a good doctor.
Yes, so who do you see?
The owner.
Okay.
Trying to think of his name.
Oh, no, it's all right. You'll think that
He's an
you'll-
Indian.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Argonal.
Something, yes.
Yeah.
I remember seeing pictures in the paper,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I'm glad.
what's your name?
Ted Texer, like Texas on the ER.
Okay.
Pleasure to meet you, sir, and
Nice to
thank
meet
you. I'll give you points. You did a good job giving the history of the house. Thank you.
Well,
And
I
keeping the
enjoy being
children
here.
straight.
Yeah, that too. That
Yeah,
too.
well, that gets a little tough sometimes,
That's when the parents won't do anything.
you know, and, well, today it's more like that.
Absolutely, yes.
It's really interesting. By the way, that's called a captain site, so that the two huts that you walk by up there
Yes.
Oh yeah.
by the fountain,
Uh-huh.
that was Marines and Secret Service. When that was on, that meant that he was here.
Got-
Bother me unless there's an emergency.
Gotcha.
So if it was on, that means there was an emergency.
Yes.
No, that means that he was here.
Oh,
Don't bother me unless there's an emergency.
Right.
fair enough.
So like now they turn the funeral
And-
lights
Now
on at
it's
the
on
funeral
all the
home.
time.
That's it, always an
Now-
Because
emergency.
we're here.
That's it. Thank you so much.
You
It
take
was
care,
nice
baby.
to see you.
Nice to see you.
Oh, and I
That's
noticed
original too, don't touch it.
I'm not. What is it? Is it a door knock thing?
Yeah,
It's a door.
everything's original.
Yeah,
How
don't
big?
touch it.
Wow. You know, this might be one of the only houses where that is the case, where everything in it is original. I don't even think President Carter's house was like that. His boyhood home out in Plains. I
I'm
mean,
not sure.
but take note.
Certainly let you touch stuff.
Yeah, well, here, look here. Here, take note of the one thing I like about the entire property as a whole.
What?
Everything is center, from the path to the door.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes,
I love
it's
that.
symmetrical.
Now, I'm just curious as to how you get to the
We'll go this way.
mineral pool that he would have used.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, well, because this
This here is one of the last schools that was built, I believe, by Eleanor Roosevelt, or one of the last ones she had built in this specific style. The museum dedicated to FDR and his legacy has information on it, but I forget what it was called. I love it. I came out here wanting to film it, but I completely forgot the information. A couple from Atlanta recently came in and bought the school, and they're going to restore it. And I'm hoping that'll be soon. I'm going to see if there's any information on how to help with that. But you can see where all of the windows would have been. They're all bricked up. This was the lunchroom area that was added in the 1950s. I mean, you can tell it just screams 50s. There's your old breezeway and whatnot. But here's to hoping that they'll be able to save this, because this is actually a pretty historic school. Because this part was built in, I think, the 30s or 40s. And again, that was the 50s. I've got my phone on me, so I will see if I can pull the information up real quick. I can tell already though that the doors are original, as well as the glass. But you do not see schools like this anymore, period. You just do not see them like this anymore. And it's a shame, but I'm just glad this one survived to the present day. Because this kind of architecture is more or less a dead art form. You don't see any buildings built with this kind of aesthetic, with this kind of construction. You just don't see them built like this, period, anymore, period. An interesting thing, I like how they just bricked up the staircase. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that done before, period. And I mean, look at this. Even the chimneys are symmetrical. Because remember, no AC or no heating. You heated the school in the winter by fireplace or gas. And in the summer, you cooled it by opening the windows. There's no telling when the last class was here. And actually, there is, I think, the builder's stone or builder's plaque. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, here you go, right here. Here's the connection to Miss Roosevelt. 1936 was when this was built. And this right here is the reason this building still exists. It was listed on the historic register back in 2010 because of this reason here. That's the only, had this school have been built by anybody else, it probably would have been torn down, but this school was named after her and was built, I think, by one of her organizations or one that Roosevelt founded. But either way, there's the connection to the First Lady. Then here is another side entrance. And I hate that people have graffitied on this. But to be fair, that's the only graffiti I'm seeing, which is good. I'm glad that's all I'm seeing, period. All I can say is I'm glad that's the only graffiti I'm seeing in the entire building. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be removed quickly once this is restored. So here's to hoping. And when I find information about the school, I'll be making sure to include the links to it, as well as links to the museum regarding FDR in the video description. Speaking of which, I hear a train coming. I'm going to let it pass though, because I've got a lot of other stuff I want to check out besides rail fanning. I'll do that when I get back. But until then, this is Railroad Preserver 2000 signing out until the next location. And to the couple who got this school, I wish you good luck in restoring it, because renovation is what this building deserves. Presently here at the Roosevelt Memorial Chapel. This is at the rehabilitation center that was named in his honor. And I'm here to get pictures and really to take a look at everything. I just want to say that it looks really pretty. The chapel does. I don't know if you can go in, but it looks like they've got some sort of plaque. Behind me, though, is Georgia Hall. Apparently he had a bunch of parties and get-togethers there during his time here. I don't know if it's open right now, but it's in the process of being restored, which is good, which is very good. There's the bell rope. That's where you'd ring the bell. Hasn't been rung, though, because there's mud daubers on it. And there you go. There's the plaque. Here's the information on it. Built in 1937. Miss Georgia Wilkins. It was donated to the foundation by Miss Georgia Wilkins, one of the owners of Warm Springs when FDR first arrived. Roosevelt attended the dedication in 1938. He attended his last church service here on April Fool's Day, or April 1st of 1945. I'll be. Question is, can you go in? You can't, but it's locked. But that's fine, you can still peek through, and there's what it looks like on the inside, and it's pretty. It's real pretty. I'm glad they have a little window for you to look in. And then here's the, probably might be the original tablet there. There's a dedication tablet, and then if you look up, you've got those. You've got the light. That's neat. You don't see that anymore. And then there is Georgia Hall, which is currently under a massive restoration and renovation project, which is good. I'm glad that's being restored. And then all around it, around here, are cottages that were built by those that Roosevelt knew during his stay here. He had a college here that was built in, I think, the early 30s, which has sadly been lost to fire. It ended up burning in 2017, but from what I was told by the park rangers at his second home was that apparently even before the fire, it was apparently a total loss, to where apparently there was nothing that could really be done in terms of saving it. All that's left now is the front steps and the chimney, unless they somehow find a way to, I guess, I don't know, rebuild it. They could probably build a replica to give an idea of what it looked like, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna try and get pictures here. Again, Georgia Hall's under restoration, but I can still get pictures to some degree. Well, on second thought, never mind. But I do want to get pictures of these houses, so I'm going to end the recording here, and if I can get permission to take a look around in Georgia Hall, great. If not, oh well, then that's fine. There's always next time. But till then, I will be back. Well, never mind. I guess you can go in. Excuse me. So I'm currently outside of Georgia Hall, as you can see by the name there. I was able to take a quick look inside. I didn't want to stay too long and bug people, so I just got a quick look and left. It's pretty on the inside, and I'm glad it's being restored. I'm sure it's needed this kind of work done on it for a while, and I'm glad it's getting it, and I hope they turn their attention to these other cottages next, because they're just as significant, especially since a lot of those that Roosevelt knew, I think, built and then lived in them for a while until going to his next place of residence, which I just visited earlier. And I like this one right here, which is Bradley Cottage. I love it because of this one feature you see right here, this little round rotunda style area. It's really pretty. I like it like this. And I love the color scheme of it too. It reminds me of the houses in Cass. Even though those homes are not very, well, ornate, they're still neat because they were built more or less at roughly around the same time, which is nice. So I'm going to be crossing back and forth across the road here to get pictures. So yeah, over here is Physio College or Physio College. I don't know how to pronounce it, but either way, it's one of those that's well kept, which is nice. Hold on one second. Continuing where I left off. So this is Sizio Hall, or Sizio Cottage, excuse me, I'm losing my mind. I'm sure there's a proper way to pronounce that, but yeah. Now, I apologize in advance. I don't remember exactly which people Roosevelt knew. I don't know which ones actually built these and stayed in them, but from what I was told by the park rangers, a lot of these cottages were built and lived in by a lot of the people he knew here in Warm Springs. But next up is Joseph Cottage, and as you can see, it needs a little TLC. But it's got a metal roof, which will help protect it. And that's good. Crossing the road again, you'll also note that there's little stone walls here. That's to help with erosion. But yeah, you can see the original rock foundations as well as cinder blocks that were added later. Yeah, so they've got scaffolding up, so that's good. That looks to be I think what was known as a widow's walk, where you'd have a little porch-like area on the upper roof. Except that was probably an actual one because there's a door leading out up there. But I love this detail all on the front. You don't see that anymore with modern homes anymore, and it's sad. And then here is Desportes Cottage. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. But it's also owned by the Lions Club, so Lions IITE Cottage. And my grandmother found the remains of Roosevelt's the cottage that Roosevelt had here, which was the first home he had here in Warm Springs. But going further, this brings us now to W.S. Moore Cottage. And if I can find the history on who exactly built and lived in each specific one, I will be including it in the video I make for all of what I'm filming today. All I can say is I love the designs of each one, because if you notice, none of them are the same design. They're all unique, they're all individual, and they're all different, and I love that. I love house designs that are like that. Then here is M.I. Curtis Cottage. Now there's another one on the other side there, which I'll get to in a minute. There's I think one or two over there. I will see y'all in just a few more minutes. And here is the remains of Roosevelt's first home in Warm Springs, Georgia. But it was not named after him. It was actually named McCarthy Cottage, and the sign for it is still here. And there's another one further up there, an old storage shed, I think. But yeah, McCarthy Cottage is what it was. And then there's another one up there next door, and then there's another one down in a gully down there that I'm going to look at. But yeah, all that's left is the rock stairs, the foundation, the fireplace, and the wood, and where the porch would have been. It was all destroyed by a fire in 2017. Now I don't know if it was an accidental fire or if it was arson. But it was probably one of the two, sadly. And yeah, you can see charred wood there. And of course, the wood would have been like lighter knot. It being here for so long, all the wood inside would have been like fire knot and kindling. It would have gone up quick. Interesting thing though, you can see the individual rock supports for the house there in the grass. And there would have been the driveway and all that, and then there's the fireplace and the chimney. That's literally all that's left. This here is literally all that is left of the house. And it would have had round nails. There's round nails everywhere, so I'm needing to watch where I step. But then you've got that one there and then that one there. That was probably an old servant's house, I bet. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting the rest of this here, and I should be more than set. I just need to get this house and then the one further down in this little wooded area off to the left, off camera. A lot of these are fairly original to some degree. So there's this one, but I don't see a name for it, so I really don't know. Anyway, that's it. I will see y'all later. So here is the pools where FDR went to try and get his polio treated. From what I was told, when the Park Service got them, they refilled them once or twice a year in the but unfortunately they started cracking and they can no longer hold water, so they've just been drained. My guess is due to the fact that they were settling and they just could no longer hold water as a result. But this is where you see a lot of the famous photographs and archival video film of him swimming and really just relaxing out in the pool, really. Yeah, but there's the fountain there where the spring is at. Now, the windows were where the dressing rooms used to be. They now have a museum regarding polio and the fight to eradicate it. In there, that's really interesting. In fact, here is more dressing rooms here all along the sides. You've got more steps leading down to the interior of the pool. In fact, you can see where a little bit of it is still holding water even now, just not much. And I think that's actually due to the spring, and they say the spring water is like really warm here. The plaques need to be fixed though. They're all like really cracked and faded, so they may want to fix that. But I've been wanting to come to Warm Springs to try and document all this for the last, oh God, 7-8 years, ever since I found out about Roosevelt's story in greater detail, thanks to the American Experience film about him. That was probably when I was like 17, 18, maybe a little younger than that. And here is what this town is named for, the warm spring. You can see some of the chairs and equipment they would use for people who were dealing with polio right here. And here is the spring. And of course it doesn't feel cold, but, well, it doesn't feel warm right now because it's 80, 90 degrees out, but in the winter that's hot water. That is what this town was named for and founded on. In fact, you can see right here where the water's actually flowing through right now. Of course, I think I'm also seeing where it's eroding under the foundation a bit. So that explains why it doesn't hold water much anymore. It's because it's apparently all going under the foundation or something. But this pool looks to be about 5 feet deep where I'm standing. Because I'm roughly 5 feet tall, so that's about the height of this thing. And of course it would have gotten, and of course as you can see, it didn't get shallower, I don't think. Yeah, there is the warm spring in Warm Springs, Georgia. It'd be interesting though to see where those photos were made of FDR at this pool, because I mean the photos are well known. Almost everybody in every school year has seen them when learning about FDR, but it'd be interesting to see exactly where at this pool they were, you know, it'd be interesting to see where at the pool they were taken in terms of like where those pictures were taken when he was here. I mean, I'm not saying you could recreate them, but just to get the angle right to show what they look like now, nearly 80 years after these things were built. Another train coming. Another one I'm going to let pass. Oh, and here's something interesting. There is an old drying mechanism right there. And that's original too, I believe. And look at that. Still works. That's amazing. Not bad for something that's probably over 100 years old. I'm just going to let that train go. There ain't no point in trying to catch it right now. There'll be others. Yeah. There's a ramp. I know. You know, it'd be neat to see exactly where those pictures were taken to try and find the sort of angle. Now, I guess all of those were more changing rooms.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And look, right there, the little...
You squeeze out your tire.
I know, and it still works.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it still turns. But you know why it's bright, right? The white paint. All the white paint's just reflecting the light. I think the rest of this is used as offices and storage, but so I'm going to end the recording here, so I will see y'all later at the next location or trackside. So I'll see y'all then. Currently here at Pine Mountain at FDR State Park, and we're currently heading to Dowdell's Knob. So yeah, here's the information about it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think there's a statue of him up here, and they'd come up and have picnics here at this place. So that's what we're going to see. So see you at the top. Right. Ladies, gentlemen, viewers, history buffs, welcome to Dowdell's Knob. And there's Mr. Roosevelt sitting down. And here is what he saw. We are, I think, 1,300 feet above sea level. Basically think Bald Knob and Black Rock Mountain, but a little lower down. There's a bit of wind because we got, as you can see, rain coming in from just up ahead. So I want to get this done quickly and efficiently, whatever it is. I want to get this done as quickly and efficiently. So here's the plaque. Of the spur here. Yeah, so this was his sort of hangout spot, his picnic spot pretty much. And that's what you see him sitting on, is an automobile seat. They would take him out of the car, out of the back seat of the car, and set him on the ground so he could sit down and eat. Because back then, you know, people would just sit on the ground and have picnics. Now you don't see that anymore, but here's the information about it. Right there. That's something we all need. Excuse me. So here's how high up we are, 1,395 feet. Here's what he saw. I can understand why he liked this. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and that's pretty much what I like about these places myself. But I can see why he liked this place. I mean, look at the view. What's not to love about it? This is just impressive on its own. And it gets better as you get closer. And take note, no fence. This is what you call a common sense viewing area. Why? Because if you don't use your head, well, you ain't going to use it, period, if you fall. So this here's the grill, and as you can see, they filled it in to keep it from collapsing, falling apart. part. But here's why he loved it so much. So I'm going to start from the trees and slowly pan around in a curve, starting now. So yeah, panning back, moving forward. Here's a good view looking straight ahead. And here's a view looking left. And a view looking right. And as you can see in front of me on the camera lens, you can see the rain coming in. So that means it is about time to leave. So I will see y'all later. This here is the memorial bridge that was built in FDR's memory, Roosevelt's memory. There's a plaque up there that talks more about it. I'm going to cross real quick beforehand so I can get a photo of this thing without all the signs. So, interesting thing, that there's all limestone. I'm staying well off the road because this here's a blind curve. But here's a better view of the bridge from the upper level. Now, the facades for the center arches are facades. It's actually a concrete bridge in the middle part. But it's, I think, a mostly stone structure, or it could be a completely concrete bridge, and they built it to look stone, like stone. Who knows? But here is the plaque, right here. Let's see here. So, yeah. So, there you go. (1934 to 38). There's a better view of the bridge. It looks almost like a tunnel over here, doesn't it? I didn't have to worry about there being a ton of traffic on this road. I would get a picture of this thing from the middle, but I'm not going to do that. That there is why. Let me see here. Well, that guy's walking down. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Railroad Preserver 2000 here, back again doing another video here in Greenville, Georgia. I'm currently at Greenville's Railroad Depot here. I'm here to document it because this is the first time I've seen it, and the other reason is to document what's left of the railroad that once ran through town here less than 15 years ago. The railroad was abandoned by that around 2007, but it looks like the tracks were lifted maybe as recently as about 10, 15 years ago. But interesting thing, not only did they save the depot, but they also got the old crossing sign that used to be beside it. Now, on Rail Georgia's archive site, they have 2 photos of the depot as it looked in 2006. And this crossbuck was right there beside it. So I'm going to get pictures and do all this quickly because my camera is dying. So let's see, what railroad owned it? Norfolk Southern. Okay, so Norfolk Southern was the last owner. So they're the ones who abandoned the right-of-way. So going vertical, 1, 2, 3. Here's the depot. So the depot has been the town's community center. Now they've renovated the freight portion, ironically enough, but the passenger side has always been bricked off. All the windows, all the doors, all bricked off. As you can hear by the rolling thunder behind me, there's a massive storm front rolling in. There's also a bridge here that was built in, I think, 1937 or 1927. Oh. I think where my grandmother's parked is right where the tracks would have been. I'm going to be careful crossing here. The only good thing about the railroad is the fact it's gone means I don't have to worry about getting hit by a train. So here, I think, is roughly where those pictures were taken in 2006. I'm going to need to be quick about this because the weather's rolling in and it is getting bad quick. So here is the other side of the depot here. I'm going to wait for all the traffic to clear up a little bit. Let me see here. So anyway, here's the right-of-way. As you can see, it's absolutely overgrown. I'm going to redo that picture of the depot. Now the track would have been literally right where I'm standing, and here's ballast pointing out where it was. Now I'm going to cross the tracks, or where the tracks would have been. And here's the trackside portion. And here's the passenger waiting area. So you've got the door, the waiting room, ticket office. Signals would have probably been semaphores. You would have had the depot siding and the mainline track. By the time 2006 rolled around, it was just the single track that would have been right through here. In fact, you can still see the ballast, so proof this hasn't been abandoned all that long ago. But yeah, I'm going to end the recording, and I'll see y'all later because rain is coming down fast. See y'all then. Railroad Preserver 2000 out. currently now in Shiloh, Georgia. Now you would think where I'm walking, now I know what you're going to say, why is there this huge space in the middle of the road? Well, the answer is simple. This was a railroad right where I'm walking, and I've got evidence to support that. Why? Well, let me just get to this tree. Now, here's the ghost street of Shiloh. I say ghost street because there's nothing left of Main Street except for these buildings. Now, I'm going to walk over here and get pictures. Now, I'm sorry if I sound stressed and rushed, but my camera battery is dead, but pretty much. It'll start blinking for me in a minute. Yeah, right here. So I'm going to make all this fast. So I apologize if this is very rushed, but this is all that's really left of the Main Street of Shiloh, Georgia. There would have been 2 more buildings, but they've been knocked down. They've been demoed. Now going back to the railroad grade, that's what this is right here. This is where the railroad came through town. In fact, the new building that was built across the road there is where the depot would have been. In fact, I think it's modeled in a likeness to the depot. So, with that being said, I'm going to walk down here and show you the evidence I have regarding the right-of-way and the fact that there was a railroad here. And it's really the only evidence left of it, because on the archived Rail Georgia Depot site that I've used for years to find railroad depots in this state, there is no information on the depot that was here in Shiloh or of the railroad, which means it must have been gone by the 30s at most. But now you can see the grade is more noticeable. And going back to what I said about it being a railroad grade, you're about to see exactly why I say that right here underneath these 2 trees. The reason why I say this is a railroad grade is because of this. That is an old cast iron culvert, which means this was had a railroad track on top of it at one time. And that is probably the only, I guess, evidence of it actually, of a railroad actually being here, because there's nothing else to indicate it other than this little path. So that's pretty much it for Shiloh. I will see y'all back in Warm Springs, probably with my Canon Rebel, since this PowerShot's battery is dead. See you then.